Well, hello there, my name is Vladimir, welcome to my home studio, and today we are checking out the NUX Cerberus, which I think is the three-headed dog in the Greek mythology, I think. Maybe. Moving on. What the NUX Cerberus is kind of a all-in-one package which allows you to have the tuner. There's an analog drive and distortion circuits, there's the modulation section, and there's the delay/reverb. And you can run the unit either in the preset mode, in which one of these 4 buttons activates a preset with a bunch of these settings, or you can run it in the kind of pedal mode where you activate the drive, the distortion, modulation, and so on. Not only that, but you can also use the unit as a kind of standalone guitar setup, because it also has ability to run cap simulation from the push of a button. So basically you can just grab your guitar and head to the gig with this unit. It's kind of cool. On the back side there's all kinds of stuff happening as well. You can connect your expression pedal there. There's a volume control for the boost that you can assign to this control button over here. Or I believe you can also assign it to a certain preset if you want. There's a ground loop switch, there's the USB and MIDI in and out. There's a level control for the kind of effects loop section of the pedal, or what you basically could put in the effects loop of the amp. And there's also the phone's output as well. And you can run this pedal by going to the input and from there going to the front end of your amp. Or if you so desire, you can actually run the drives into front end of the amp and run the modulation and delay/reverb section to the effects loop of the amp. And there's all these connections for that as well. On the front side, there's the tap tempo switch, and by holding this, you can browse through the presets. There's the control button that can be assigned to reverb, modulation, effects section, drive and distortion bypass. So you can actually bypass both of them at the same time, like this, if you want to. Then there's also the adjustable boost, and the volume control is at the back over here for that if you so desire to do. By holding down the control, you will access the tuner as well, which seems to work really nicely. Except my guitar is slightly out of tune, but never mind that. Then there's the analog drive section, and this is kind of bold from the company, but they actually use kind of like photoshopped image of the GHS Morning Glory on their website. So we know exactly what this pedal is. I have some issues with that, but we'll move on. And then there's the distortion section, and on their website they have the JHS Angry Charlie image there as well. And so we know what this pedal is as well. I'm not that cool with that, but what you're gonna do. Then there's the button that allows you to route the distortion and the overdrive the way you want. You can run them so that the distortion goes to the overdrive. Then you can run them in parallel, or you can put the distortion after the overdrive. This is really cool. Next to that is the switch for cap simulation, and you can actually also load your own impulse responses into this, and I believe you can also edit the presets on the pedal as well through the software that you can download from their website. And then there's also the kill dry switch, which will actually kill the dry signal and let only the kind of affected signal through. Next to that is the modulation section, which has a bunch of different choruses. There's 3 types of choruses over here. Then there's a tremolo, phaser, and a univibe. And you can actually have one of the choruses and one of these effects on at the same time. We'll take a look at them a bit later. Next to that is the delay and the reverb section. There's a 70s, 60s and 80s type of delay. And then there's the spring, plate and hall reverbs. And you can actually route these as you want as well. You can run the delay into the reverb in the middle. You can run them in parallel, or you can run the reverb into delay like this. There's also selection for different subdivisions and repeats. This decay is universal for both reverb and delay, and these are the individual levels for these 2 effects. Let's start by going through some of the sounds you can get with this unit. I'm playing my telly through the Victory Sheriff 22 over here, and it's going to the 2-note Torpedo Live, which hosts the closed back 4x12 by rev amplification. Well, let's start with the drive section with all the controls at 12. I'm on the neck pickup, here's the clean sound, and I'll tweak these settings as we go. Let's check out some more settings on the pedal. Nice, that's a really good sounding overdrive. Let's move on to the distortion section. I'll start with the controls at 12 o'clock again, and I'll tweak the settings as we go. Let's adjust this right away. Yep. Maybe like this. I've played the Angry Charlie pedal before, and I know it's really mid heavy and probably not the best thing for a rhythm guitar sound, at least in my opinion. But let's see how heavy we can get with this using the telly. Yeah, maybe this overdrive at these settings or distortion isn't the best thing with the Sheriff, which is already kind of on a almost edge of breakup setting, and it's already quite mid-heavy. This is really mid-heavy, but hey, you can get really great lead tones with this, even with this amp. Maybe like this, especially if we run the drive into the distortion. So let's set up a good drive sound first. So this is our rhythm guitar sound, and then we run it into the distortion. Maybe that wasn't the best sound example, but you get the idea. Let's move on to the modulation section. We'll start with the chorus side of things. The first one is the CE. And again, they use the photoshopped Boss pedals and such on their website. Not cool, but we'll try to get past it, or at least I will. That's a really good sounding chorus. Next one is labeled SC. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but we'll listen with our ears. And the last one is labeled ST. Again, you'll probably be able to find it somewhere what it's made after. All of those are really good sounding choruses, and who doesn't like chorus? I know you do. I know you do. Alright, let's jump into the phaser tremolo world. We'll start with the controls over here. So here's the TR, which is the Boss tremolo, is the TR2. Again, really nice. Phaser. I just really had to try that. Moving on to the univibe. Sounds like this. And then you can obviously create all this kind of cool mixes. I would go with the tremolo and maybe the middle chorus, which was kind of quite subtle but not too much. Whoever created this pedal was probably really into 80s guitar sounds, and since I love those guitar sounds as well, this section of the pedal is really awesome. I love it. Let's move on to the delay section. I've bypassed the reverb for now, and we'll start with the 70s delay, which sounds like this. Clean. As you can see, you can also see the kind of milliseconds for the delay. It's really convenient. Nice. We'll move on to the 60s delay, which sounds like this. Let's move on to the 80s delay, which sounds like this. And since we're on the 80s delay, there's a certain riff I just have to play. Really good sounding delays on this one again, and because you can program the presets, you can kind of get access to many of those if you want to. Really cool. Let's take out the delays for now, so we'll take level of that down and we'll engage the reverb. And right now we're on the spring delay setting. Let's increase the level as well. Sounds like this. Increase the decay time. Nice. We'll move on to the play delay. And the whole reverb. And let's try a really traditional setting in which we are feeding the delay into a reverb. Let's go for the plate setting, and I really like the 80s delay, and we'll see what happens. I have no idea what I'm playing, but it's fun. This unit is also really fun because you can actually save all of this, which I just created. There's reverb, delay, tremolo, all kinds of stuff happening in the drive, and then I can just go and save this to a bank, let's say 1A, like that. And then we're gonna go to the preset mode. We still have the sound. And on the bank too, there's something else. I don't know what those other presets are because this unit isn't mine, but they also sound really good. This unit just sounds good, let's put it that way. The last thing I wanted to do is to try to use this unit as a kind of standalone thing, so I actually plugged it in via this USB cable over here, selected a cabinet impulse response thing from the software over there, and here's how it sounds just straight into the device. I have the drive on with the cap sim off. And here is the 4x12 V30 thing going on with the cap on. That's not bad at all, and you can actually load your own impulse responses into this as well. So you could technically gig with the guitar and this, and that's it. Pretty cool. Thanks for watching my demo on the NUX Cerberus. I can't help but say it that way, I don't know why. I'm so cool. I think this is a really good sounding unit. It's really affordable. You get a lot for the money. I have some slight issues with kind of blatantly copying other pedal designs and actually kind of almost telling you what they have done, but that's how it is nowadays, unfortunately. The analog distortion and overdrive things sound really good, so do the modulation and delay things. It's really convenient for many kinds of use. The DI or the cap simulated signal sounds pretty good as well. I don't know what else there is to say. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this demo. As always, there's a subscribe button over here. There's some other stuff I've done. If you have questions, hit them down below in the comment section as well. And I'm just going to thank you for watching this video, and I shall see you next time.